Liftoff will start in T-minus 10 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We have ignition.
It's time! 17 seconds from Game 7 or from championship number 6. Jordan, open. Chicago with the lead. Harper got a piece of it. It comes off. The Chicago Bulls have won their 6th NBA championship.
Tying run at second, 2 out. Palmero over the head of Jenks. Uribe charges, throws, out! And the White Sox have won the World Series.
To the far side around the 8-yard line to Hester. Under it and to the middle with the 15 to the 20, breaks free of the 25 to the 30, to the outside, 40, midfield, 40, 30 to the coast, 20, 15, Hester 5. Oh! Touchdown!
Toward Bryant. He will glove it toward Rizzo. It's in time. And the Chicago Cubs win the World Series.
What up, what up, what up? Welcome to Shawn and Maya in the morning on this House Music Monday edition. I'm your boy, the SuperBack, Shawn Sierra. Thanks for tuning in. If you're watching us on Facebook Live, well then, I guess you found us on Facebook. If you're not following us on Facebook, what? All right, listen, go to Facebook, type in Sports Zone Chicago, click the like button, and now you're following Sports Zone Chicago. Simple. But wait, there's more. Go to the show's page. Go to Shawn and Maya in the morning, like that page as well. So not only will you be liking Sports Zone Chicago, you'll be liking Shawn and Maya in the morning as well. Yay, yay, yay. Oh, man. It's crazy, crazy, crazy. Hoo-hoo. If you're watching us on our YouTube channel, excellent. And if you're not subscribed to our YouTube channel, for real. All right, listen, go to YouTube, type in Sports Zone Chicago, click the subscribe button, but also click the notification button. That's the bell right next to it. And that'll let you know anytime a show from Sports Zone Chicago is going live. Get it? Got it? Good. Now, if you're watching us on our mobile app, yay. Listen, don't even tell me. You didn't know we have our own mobile app. Come on now. Where you been? Keep up with... Man, listen. So wherever you get your apps from, it doesn't matter. Whether it's iTunes, Google Play, Amazon, Walmart, Kmart, 7-Eleven, Zayre, Zemsky, Macy, Montgomery Ward, Venture, Woolworth, Gold Blast, Weebolts. Wherever you get them from, you go there, you type in Sports Zone Chicago, you download it. You take us with you on the go, so not only do you get Shawn and Maya in the morning 3 days a week, not only do you get our other live shows throughout the week, not only are they archived there like they are on Facebook and YouTube, but I'll tell you what, we give you a slew, and I mean a slew of articles, thanks to my man Clarence Council III. Big up to Clarence for keeping you abreast of all articles Chicago sports related. Now, if you're watching us on our Roku TV, our Roku channel, I like that kind of party, baby. If you don't know, you better ask somebody. We have our own Roku channel. Yes. We have our own Roku channel. So now listen, here's what I need you to do. Download Sports Zone Chicago's channel right to your television. You hear me? You heard me? Right to your television. Put a smack dab. Put a smack dab in the middle. Right there next to Netflix, Hulu, Prime, Max. All right, you got it? Put it there. Do us that favor. All right. Hell, we're on the big screen, right, Mickey Ficky now. Now, you can also tweet the show. You can tweet us at Sports Zone Shy. That's CHI at Sports Zone Shy. Now, if you want to follow me, just me, personally online, you want to know what I did? Well, let me tell you what I did. You want to know what I did? Here's what I did. I made it nice and easy for you folks. Nice and easy. One handle for Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok. All one handle at the Shawn Sierra. If you want to follow my lovely co-host, Maya Akai, you can follow her on Facebook and Twitter at the Sports Chica. If you want to follow her on Instagram because you're an IGer and you do it just for the gram, well, just follow her at Maya, MAYA_AKAI. Man, we have a great show, but I need you to get interactive. So whatever platform you're watching us on, whether it's Facebook, YouTube, or mobile app, leave a question or comment on that platform. It'll come up here in the thread. We'll put it up on the screen. We'll incorporate it into the show. And that, my peoples, is what makes this the best Chicago sports morning show around. All right? So bring it all, baby. We want them all. Questions, comments, smart-ass remarks, because ain't nobody scared over here. Like The Rock said, baby, don't sing it. Just bring it. Man, the chat is jumping already. Cue up, jumping, jump. The Mac, that'll make you. Cornelius Squalls in the house. What up, Papa? Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate it. B, smooth. Brian Hendren in the Mickey Ficky house. King Booker World. What's up, Papa? How you doing? That's what I'm talking about. Oh, man, my man Armando Emeterio. Lara Jr., my man. Junior's in the house. Good morning, Papa. Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate it, as always. I love the love. I love the support. Patty Laro's in the Mickey Ficky house. Top of the morning to you, Mom. Thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate it. Well, oh, snap. Michelle Walls in the Mickey Ficky house. How you doing, Papa? It is House Music Monday, baby. Move your man. You seeing all these? They have all these little house music festivals. They're starting May 5th, Cinco de Mayo on a Sunday. Out at Bourbon Street, 100 in Marionette Park. Man, they have a crazy lineup of DJs, house music DJs, all kinds of craziness. Make sure you check it out if you like house music. Mr. Millhouse in the morning. He's with the Smoke Fellas representing. What's up, Millhouse? Papa, thank you for tuning in, man. I appreciate it. Thank you. My man, Luis Mejia, rise and grind, baby. I see you, Papa. I see you. Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate it. Man, oh man. Listen, I don't know a lot about a lot, but I do know this. More of the usual suspects will be chiming in as the show goes on. That I can tell you. Man, we have a great show at 9:30. So we gotta get rolling. My man, Emilio Bucks from the Plunked podcast. He's gonna join us. We're gonna be talking baseball. Sox are done, I believe, until the season, the home opener, the season opener, same home opener, same thing. They're playing Charlotte today. Oh God, really? So they're playing Charlotte, whatever. We're gonna talk Sox, we're gonna talk Cubs, we're gonna talk Ohtani. Ohtani's scheduled to meet today, so we're gonna talk about what ramification, what he thinks is gonna go down there with Ohtani. So that's my man Emilio Bucks. He's coming out at 9:30. At 10 o'clock, Lauren Cox from the Locked On Bears podcast. He's going to join us. Now that the trade is official, what are we looking? Is it 100% Caleb Williams? All right. He's coming. He, according to, double check. I don't want to misspeak because then I know all you guys will be coming at me. No, it wasn't this. It wasn't that. Okay. So, from Ryan Poles in his interview today, this was according to CHGO. Okay, the CHGO Bears. Caleb Williams will visit Hallis Hall the first week of April. So next week he'll be in town, and they'll get his medicals at that particular point. I got some dude yesterday online said, when I asked the question why Caleb hasn't given the Bears medicals, he's like, let me just read you this. Like, you got to understand, like, people are just so silly. So I just asked a question on a post that said, just a question, why hasn't Caleb given his medicals to the Bears? This is not a rumor, that is a fact. The Bears do not have Caleb's medicals. If he wants to play in Chicago, he wouldn't have pushed back his private visit with the Bears to delay the Bears from getting his medicals. He would have come to Chicago right after the combine, taking a physical, no drama. And then somebody said, I think he did meet with the Bears at Hallis. I said, I don't believe he has. I don't believe he had that visit yet. Not positive, but pretty confident. And then the guy says, they met with Caleb every day since Monday. I said, yes, but they didn't get his medicals. And then another dude jumps in. He's like, he did privately last week. You're posting nonsense for views and clicks. I'm like, I'm responding to a question. I didn't post a link and say, oh, Caleb didn't have his medicals. I'm like, you're a little testy and jumpy. Slow your ass down. Like, people are so crazy. Loco. Don't you know that? Loco. Dude, people are just nuts. Just starting shit for no reason. Like, come on, man. For real? You do it for likes and clicks. I'm not. I was like, come on, dude. So that's the lineup, man. But you know how we do. We got to get rolling. We got to be rolling. So you know how we do, baby. The first segment of every show is called Top of the Morning.
It won't come just when you want it.
Top of the morning to you. Top of the morning to you. Top of the morning to you.
Yay. The first top of the morning topic, the good guys. You know what? I don't even know if I can call it the good guys. The White Sox. My White Sox. Yes, I know I'm a fan. I'm a jilted fan. But the White Sox fall to the Colorado Rockies yesterday in Cactus League play 7-3. Okay, Fetty was on the mound. He went 5 innings, 2 hits, an earned run, a walk, 4 punch outs. Ortega was 2 for 5, driving in his 5th ribby of the year, and Robinson drove in his 5th ribby of the year as well. So in case you didn't remember, or in case you didn't know, and if you don't know now, you know, Garrett Crochet will get the opening day start on Thursday. He was completely taken back by surprise. He was like, damn, for real? So remember, if you remember, Garrett's coming off of Tommy John surgery, big strapping southpaw. He's like 6'4", 6'5". Let me see how tall Garrett Crochet is. There you go, American baseball player, 29. Oh, give me how tall he is. That's what I want. Well, he's a big dude. He's a big strapping. It's a big guy. He's a big dude right there. So now they don't have. Come on, you're killing me, Smalls. All right, now I gotta go Garrett Crochet's height. Thank you. All right. Oh, damn, he's 6'6". I thought he was 6'4". He's 6'6". Whew. Okay. Well, the White Sox, they're done. They're taking on Charlotte today. They're done after today. They're done until their home opener on Thursday. So we'll see. My good guys, what are they going to do this year? This year, I don't have a lot of hope for them. I really don't. The next top of the morning topic, the Cubs. The Cubs tied the Mariners yesterday 9-9. 9 times. Your son's been absent from school 9 times, Mrs. Bueller. The Cubs and the Mariners tied 9-9. The professor. All right. Kyle Hendricks was on up. He started the game. He was on a bump. He went 3 1/3, 7 hits, 2 earned runs, 3 punch outs. Cassie was 1 for 4 with a homer, his second of the year, driving in 3 for his 8th, 9th, 10th, and 11th ribbies of the spring. Cooper was 2 for 3 with a double, his second, a homer, his third, driving in his 6th RBI of the springtime. The Cubs today, they will host the Cardinals, their arch rival. All right. That game is, they will host them over at Sloan Park. That game is on a marquee network, or you can catch that on their fanship if you want to listen to it on 670 a.m. They're hosting them today and tomorrow. They're off Wednesday as they travel to Texas for their home opener. I was talking to Steve-O, my producer. The Cubs, if any of you guys know, where does the Cardinals start off? Because the Cardinals are in Florida. All right, their spring training's in Florida. So that happens if you're on the road. If you're coming out west, that happens. You'll get a. Let's see. Remember the White Sox played in Milwaukee a couple of years ago for the last 2 home games for spring training. Actually, not home games, but the last 2 games of spring training. They're starting here, so they left Arizona early. So it does happen. I was just wondering if you knew where the Cardinals were starting. I mean, Houston, they could start. They could start in L.A. They could start in San Diego, San Fran. I don't know where they start. Arizona, there could be the Diamondbacks. I really don't know. Yeah, Louis, man. Yeah, there are too many fools out there that click. Stop! You're posting for clicks and likes. I'm like, come on, bro. And Junior, you are right. This is exactly what divides the fan base. Exactly. Ryan, you're a fool. You're only talking socks to get clicks. People click off if I only talk socks. Oh my goodness, that's the truth. Oh snap! AC Adam in the Mickey Ficky house. Good morning, Papa. Good morning. What is that? Is that a bull? Bulls up, bears down. Okay. Oh, okay. The next top of the morning topic: Shohei Ohtani is scheduled to speak with the media today. Let me see what time that is. He's scheduled to speak with the media today about his former translator. Man, oh man, oh man. Woo, Charlie. I don't know. Actually, I do know how it's going to go. Oh, I didn't know. You know what? He's going to make his translator take the heat. Because if he's gambling on baseball at all, he's done. He's done. Him and Charlie Hustle will be on the outside looking in. And maybe this is, I don't know. There's an investigation going on. We're going to find out a lot more as the investigation goes on. So I don't really know. Man, it just seems like it's ready to have someone take the fall. All right, Shohei's such a huge draw. And him staying on the left coast, like I was thinking, okay, maybe the powers that be in Major League Baseball, like, okay, we'll show him. We're not gonna, we're not gonna pay his what is a $13 trillion contract he had. I'm kidding. I'm exaggerating for effect, of course. But then I'm like, no, like if you can offer him, was it 500, 600 million, something like that? Like if you can offer him that, how much are you making? You know what I mean? And so like the Angels are probably going to have exclusive streaming rights to Japanese to Japan and Japanese outlets and things like that. They're going to cost, an arm and a leg. So I don't know. I can't see the play here. I'm not sure, but I do want to see how this plays out. So we will see. Moving on to the next top of the morning topic: the Bulls. Only the Bulls. Our bullies. They host the Washington Wizards tonight. Tonight at the United Center. Tip off at 7 p.m. That game is on NBC Sports Chicago, or you can listen to it on our flagship station, 670 AM on your radio dial. The Bulls they're just fighting to try and get back to 500. I mean, the Bulls right now are, they're back to 34 and 37. Son of a biscuit. Man, they got close and then boom. Sons of biscuits, man. And the Wizards are worse, if I'm not mistaken. They should be able to come away with a dub on this one. They should be able to get a dub. Yeah, Washington's 13 and 58. The Bulls right now are 34 and 37. So they double. They better not lose to the Washington Wizards. That'll be embarrassing as all get out. But moving on to the next top of the morning topic, the Blackhawks. They host the Calgary Flames tomorrow at the United Center. And puck drop tomorrow is at 7:30. All right, you can catch that game on NBC Sports Chicago, or you can listen to it on their flagship station, 720 a.m. And the last top of the morning topic, man, NCAA has been insane. Insane in the brain. Insane in the brain. NCAA tournament there have been upsets up the wazoo. All right, a little bit of hope for Northwestern. They won their first game against Florida Atlantic in a 77-65 convincing win, and then got the brakes beat off of them as they faced the number one team, the UConn Huskies, number one team in the East region. Man, they got dog walked. They got dog walked. Then you had Yale. See, Yale, San Diego State. Like, let me say, the stuff that's going on. I mean, March. It's literally madness. And whoever came up with that, and that believe, just so you know, this is state of Illinois' term. Illinois came up with March Madness. All right, and whether or not you know this, you're going to find out today that the NCAA pays the state of Illinois to use the term March Madness. Yeah. So, yeah, and believe me, I'm sure they're going to renegotiate now that the NCAA starting this year gets $1 billion. The NCAA gets $1 billion with a B, $1 billion for the rights for CBS and the affiliate stations. $1 billion. State of Illinois is pocketing that money along with the weed money, along with the gambling, sports gambling money. Come on, man. That could be another show. What are they doing with all this damn money? The NCAA is getting $1 billion. You got to break off the state of Illinois a couple, 100 mil, 10%, 20%. What the hell are they doing with that money? Like I said, that's a topic for another show. What the state of Illinois is doing with the residuals they're getting from the NCAA to use March Madness. What are they doing with that money? What they're doing with the weed money, the marijuana money, and what they're doing with the sports gambling money. Man, these politicians are lining their pockets like fat cats. Well, listen, we got to take a quick break. On the other side of the break, my man, he's ready. He's ready to roll, baby. He's in the green room. He's sipping on that scissor. You got a little something that's got a little Irish coffee in the morning. For those of you who don't know what Irish coffee is, you usually put some Baileys in there. Put just a little something to get you going in the morning. I'm just messing. But my man Emilio Bucks from the Plunk Podcast is going to join us on the other side of the break. So do me a favor. Don't go anywhere, folks. Keep it locked right here. Shawn and Maya in the morning on Sports Zone Chicago.
Hey, it's your boy, the SuperBack, Shawn Sierra, and be sure to follow Sports Zone Chicago on all social media platforms, on Facebook, Instagram, and our Roku channel. You can find us at Sports Zone Chicago, and on Twitter, we are at Sports Zone Shy. Also, be sure to download our mobile app so you can take Sports Zone Chicago with you on the go.
Time out. How are you feeling right now? Happy? Excited? Angry? Overwhelmed? One of the best things you can do for your mind health is to name what you're feeling. It can sharpen your awareness and help you talk about your feelings with someone you trust. Here are 3 questions to ask yourself. Where are your thoughts right now? In the past, the present, the future? Do you notice any sensations in your body? Is your heart beating fast? Is there a flutter in your stomach? Or are you fully relaxed? What do you need right now? Time with others? Time to yourself? Remember, there's power in this awareness. So find ways to identify what you're feeling today.
Hi, guys. Hey. Hi, Megan. Hey, Jessica. Megan, you're a tramp. Ryan Fitch told me you guys made out. Everybody knows. He said your breath smells like garbage. And he almost puked. He says you're the most desperate girl he knows, besides your mom. How many boyfriends does she have anyway? Lots? Your makeup makes you look like a clown. That zit is huge, zit face. Ugly.
Hey, bud, what you doing?
I'm playing with cars.
Cars? Can you show me what a car does? Whoa, 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 whoa. Hold on a second. First of all, this is a school zone. So you need to put down your cell phone, stop texting, and let's get to driving. Now you're coming up to a stop sign, right? You need to slow down and stop before you hit that Y line. I want you to look left, right, left. You don't want to get hit by a car going on your left, and to your right to make sure you don't get sideswiped by a guy coming from your right. You're coming, and you see a crosswalk. You better slow your horses down, because the #1 rule of driving is always yield to pedestrians. Now stop, pull over, and you are done driving. Gosh, what do they teach you kids in school nowadays?
Now look to start this game. Duquesne really doesn't want to bring any early help. They want to play Damas one-on-one. We talk about size and points in the paint, but also defensively.
Hawkins up top, few steps beyond the arc, it doesn't matter. He's got back-to-back threes and a timeout called by
Possessions and not allow Illinois to have extra possessions. They've turned it over 4 times. They've given up 4 offensive rebounds.
Shannon cans it from up top. When that's happening, that's trouble for the opposition. He's got
17 points a game.
Hawkins way downtown. It's good. He's feeling it. He's got 3 threes.
Because you want to keep Shannon on one side of the floor. You can't let him catch it in the middle. That takes something away.
Damas with a shot fake goes into the paint, right to the rim. He lays it off the glass.
Welcome back to Shawn and Maya in the morning on Sports Zone Chicago. Those clips courtesy of TNT. Those were the ILL. I didn't go to Illinois, but a lot of my good friends did. All right. They ended up beating who was that yesterday? Is it Iowa State? Yeah. No, they beat who was Duquesne. 89-63. Good game. Illinois. They Sweet 16, haven't been there since 05. So good stuff. Good stuff for the Illini. Like I said, my guy Eddie G. He was out in Vegas watching the game at Circus Sports or whatever. So good stuff. Good stuff. But my first guest is my man's in them. He's one of the reasons I'm probably going to go to a Sox game this year, so we can meet up and drink some more Tito's out of the plastic flask. I'm getting it ready, baby. I'm getting ready for opening day. He's from the Plunked Podcast, Chicago Clubhouse Podcast Network. You can find him on Twitter at ebucks, B-U-C-K-S, ebucks76. Man, let's bring him in, our boy Emilio Bucks. Emilio, what's up, Papa?
Yo, what's up, brother? Hey, I got the plastic flasks ready, brother.
Oh, you got one too now?
Yeah, man. We're not lying in Reinsdorf's pockets with no concessions and nothing.
Yep, I'll pay the $7 for the Sprite.
Right.
I'll pay the $7 for the Sprite. Find one of the metal beer cans, rinse it out in the bathroom.
There you go.
And then go back up like, hey, can I have some ice in here?
Keep it gully. You know how we do it on the South Side.
South Side? Hey, you can do what you got to do, baby. Oh, man. So the White Sox are done. They play Charlotte today. So I don't know how they're, who cares? They're playing their AAA squad. I wonder who they're playing. Are they going to play starters? Is it the other guys, the non-invitees, or is this we're going to see. Give me your thoughts as we approach the season. Garrett Crochet is the opening day starter. All right. The strapping. I thought it was like 6'4". My man's 6'6".
6'6".
Damn.
He's huge.
Man, they were talking about like what size shoe he wears. Because if you ever see when he that high leg kick, that joker's like this big. He's like a 16, 18.
He's all leg too. Yeah, yes, sir.
Oh, so what expectations do you have for the White Sox this year? We still have a lot of talent. We still have Luis Robert, who's going to be a perennial MVP candidate. We still have Eloy Jimenez, who when right can be an MVP candidate. We still have my man Yo-Yo, when right can be an MVP candidate. We got Andrew Vaughn. What do you realistically expect from the Sox this year?
Well, the good thing about it, Shawn, going into this year, unlike the last 2 or 3 years, I expect nothing from them this year. And so, therefore, the disappointment will not happen this year like it has in previous years. And on top of it, maybe we'll get surprised and they'll play decent. Low expectations equal higher results is one of my mottos. So, they're not expected to do anything. Hell, man, they were picked to like with a 0% chance to make the playoffs. So obviously my expectations aren't far off from that. Even as a fan, I'm still a fan. But low expectations, brother.
I'm still a fan as well. I mean, although under protest, but I'm still a fan.
Indeed.
It's and I hope you're right. And I'm telling you, that's the only reason I got any faith is, I was talking to Southside Zoe a couple weeks, a month or so ago, and he said the same thing, like no expectations, man. He goes, there's no pressure on them. He goes, now they can rally up. He goes, imagine them being like, having the major league mentality. All right, it's us against the world, and and I was like, I just don't want to see a shot of Reinsdorf in their clubhouse. No thanks. As they peel off one picture, one sticker after every win.
We get down to the nipple covers and everything, a la Major League. That might keep them from winning games.
It might. Like, you know what? I think we're done for the year. We got
we forfeit. We forfeit the rest of the season.
Well, I guess we got a 37-game losing streak. Forget it.
Yeah.
What about the north side? What do you expect from them? There's a lot more excitement on the north side than there is on the south side, and for obvious reason. But what do you reasonably expect for them? They got a new skipper. They were able to get back Cody Bellinger.
Yeah.
All right. Where do you think realistically what expectations do you have for the Cubs? You there, boss?
The Cubs, I have higher expectations for the Cubs just based on their lineup. They got some horses to win. They weren't able to make that happen at the end of last season. They kind of Am I freezing up?
You're slow. You're a little delayed, but that's okay.
Can you hear me?
Yeah. There's a delay.
Okay, yeah. Expectations are a little bit higher on the north side. Got a new skipper in town in Craig Counsell. They were able to re-sign Belly. They still got the same horses. They still need some pitching, unfortunately, but I think they are primed to make the playoffs. And I would think not making the playoffs would be a disappointment for the Cubs this year. I think it's kind of at least playoffs or busts for them.
I think you're right. I think they need to get in. They say managers now account for, they account for what? 3 to 5 wins.
Correct.
In the season, I don't believe it's that low, but whatever. The stat boy said it is, so they go with it. And you got arguably one of the best managers in baseball. So go another 3 to 5 wins. You add that to last season's total, they're in the playoffs. So yeah, I think it is playoffs or bust for these guys. But they have a lot. I mean, once they signed Bellinger, man, now that those playoff hopes were bold, front and center, like, okay, now we legitimately need to make the playoffs. Once they signed him, because remember he was late in signing. He wanted all that money, at least 200 mil, and not just the Cubs, but baseball spoke. Like, now we ain't giving him 200
Like,
mil.
nah, son. Like,
Nah,
you had a good year last year, but we need a little bit more than that, son.
Yeah, need one more year, and but he got a sweetheart of a deal. 3 years, $80 million, 30-30-20. All right, with options, with opt-outs after each year, which is cool for him. If he has another, but I think if he does, he'll opt out after year 2, because it's 30 mil.
Yeah,
30 mil. You gonna go get more somewhere else?
Yeah, and you get to play in Wrigley, and you're gonna have a good time playing in Wrigley.
Yeah, he likes Wrigley.
You're gonna have a good time playing in Wrigley. You know what I mean? And if they win, and if they get a playoff push going on, I can't imagine them not being around at least for year 2.
Yeah, I can't either. I think he's gonna. He's just one of those special players, man. He's one of those just really truly special players. Rookie of the year, MVP, World Series champion. He's got it, and it's good to see. And like I said, how I feel about the Cubs, but man, this dude is like, he's worth the price of admission.
Absolutely,
and he's so chill. That's the cool part about it. It's like, oh, I just parked this on Waveland. Oh, I parked this on Sheffield. You know what I mean? Like, damn,
Absolutely.
dude. Like, he's just so chill. Like, he's a perfect fit for that clubhouse. What about the pitching staff, though? How do you think this pitching staff's going to hold up? Do they have enough horses in the starting rotation? What about the bullpen? And what about a closer? Do we even need to worry about a closer until later in the season?
I think I would look for the Cubs to really make that move for the closer closer to the trade deadline. I think they got enough right now in that bullpen to get them through the first part of the season. But if they really want to make a playoff push and make some noise in the playoffs, I think a closer might be on the horizon at the trade deadline. Shawn Budman, Cubs.
That's my guy.
But I mean, they still got some guys coming out. They got they got the new guy from Japan, Shada. Am I pronouncing his name right? Shota.
Shota sounds better.
Shota. And they still got Smiley, still got Steele. They still got some guys. They could use another arm. They still got the professor who's going to bring in his years and years of experience and wisdom to kind of anchor that pitching staff. I think the Cubs will be okay, and I think if they don't, it'll be a disappointment.
Yeah, I do too. I think it'll be a real disappointment. There's hope springs eternal, and I think that Cub fans have a lot to be excited about. White Sox fans, not so much. Yeah, and so we'll see. We'll see how it plays out. But there's a huge story that's happening today, in affecting rocking all of Major League Baseball, and that's the Shohei Ohtani situation. And that's Shohei Ohtani, his former interpreter, was fired by the team. It was first reported that he had stolen money from Shohei Ohtani. Then reports came out later. It was reported again, I think by the same person, that the same outlet, that he had access. He didn't steal money. He had access to his bank account, and he was paying off gambling debts for Ohtani. So the investigation, and Major League Baseball launched a full-fledged investigation, and he's fired the interpreter. But Shohei Ohtani today is speaking with the media. What do you think is going to be said about this whole situation from Shohei?
I think that interpreter will be thrown under the bus.
I'm not a patsy. I'm a patsy.
And I think that interpreter will be compensated well to take that fall for Shohei. There's no way, I don't think Shohei comes forward and admits any wrongdoing or incriminates himself in any way. I mean, he's the baseball golden child. I mean, Major League Baseball doesn't want this shit show on their hands. However, it is said that the Dodgers knew about this ongoing investigation a matter of months ago, even before they signed him. So it'll be interesting to see what he says, how they proceed, how MLB proceeds to investigate this. But again, I think that no hablo inglés. Yeah, yeah, he's going to say it in Spanish too, which will be hilarious.
And no hablo inglés.
Right, which would be absolutely hilarious, incriminating, but hilarious. So yeah, I would look for that interpreter to take the fall.
I do too. I produced a podcast for the Smoke Fellas on Saturday, and I said the same thing. And they were like, "Oh man, I didn't think about that." And I was like, "Yeah, so he's too big a star, man.
Yeah,
he's too big a star. And think of all the money, if they're offering him, what did he get? What did he get? 600 million? Is that what he got?
Thought it was 700.
So he got 700 million. All right. So think about that. If they're able to offer him 700 million, what are they making? The Dodgers.
Absolutely.
If you think, because people are so focused on on his contract, you don't focus on, if I can pay you this,
how much am I getting?
And so, and I thought about, like, man, the Dodgers don't want to lose like the streaming rights and things like that to Japan and different outlets over there, and they're going to pay premium dollar for that.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then don't forget all the Shohei Ohtani jerseys that are going to be sold, that are going to continue to be sold in LA and around the country, or just in
around the world,
really. And that all goes into a kitty and split up. You know what I mean? So, yeah, that's a moneymaker, and I don't see a way that he takes the fall. I really don't.
Worry not. Baseball's golden boy will be protected. He will be protected, and the interpreter, he'll be fine. He'll have a few million just to go away.
Like King Booker will say, you can hit him with the Celia Cruz. My English is not very good looking.
We got some good comments today.
And keep them coming, because those two are hilarious. My English is not very good looking. Oh, dude, that is hilarious. That is. So I hope it doesn't rock the world, the baseball world. The only thing that'll happen is if a bookie comes out.
Yeah,
and says,
and
that's
naming names, and
because that's where it came to begin with, because they were investigating the bookie.
The bookie was investigated,
right?
And so if he starts dropping dime, then this could get very, very messy. But again, look for that interpreter to take most of that. Hey,
it'd be really funny if he said in Japanese, snitches get
snitches get stitches, bitches.
If he says that in Japanese
and walks off, knocks the podium over and walks off.
Yeah, just a little memo to his bookie.
Yeah,
that would be classic.
Absolutely.
Oh man, so we're gonna find out, man. We're gonna see what's gonna happen with Ohtani, and I think that would be the perfect way to end his press conference. Or just like,
hey man, I'll be tuning in. I'll be tuning in to watch this press conference, because I'm interested to see who's the new interpreter.
Yeah, exactly, dude. That's true, because you got to figure out. I mean, and then they're gonna keep an eye on him. So that's crazy. Hey, bro, listen, I appreciate it. We're gonna definitely have to get up with a Sox game, and you got your own flash, dude. That's great. That's dope.
Oh yeah, man. I took my cues from you last season. I'm like, oh, this is how you do it. Yeah.
Yes, it is. Got one over on the man.
Exactly. Got to stick it to the man. The way he's been sticking it to us.
Man, no, $0. No, it's free parking, $1 ticket, and $7 Sprite.
Hey, there we go. Hey, but it's still White Sox to the casket drops. You know what I'm saying? So
hey, I hear you, bro. Hey, I appreciate it for coming on today, Papa. But do me a favor before you go. Let everyone know where they can find you and your work online.
Always a pleasure, my brother. You can find me right now. I'm still doing Bullspit, our Bulls podcast via the Chicago Clubhouse Network on Thursday nights on Facebook and YouTube. And you could also catch me on Twitter at ebucks, BUCKS76 on Twitter. And we're just going to keep it moving. You know, I'm excited about baseball season. You know, no matter what the squad is looking like, I'm ready to go, brother.
I hear you. You know, if I do go to a couple games, I'll get them off the secondary market and kind of just walk my way on the 100 level.
You'll be out there. The summer's too long not to hit up a couple games. Come on, Shawn. You know what's up. You know what's up.
Yeah, and this is true. This is true. I was mad earlier. I was in my feelings a couple months ago, but now that it's there and you get to sit in the park and smell the hot dogs and the
Absolutely,
beer,
brother. Come on.
And run into people you haven't seen in a minute. Like, you know, it's like,
don't rob yourself of a good time, even with a bad team.
This is true. All right, man. We'll be in touch soon, man. I appreciate your time.
All right, my brother. Let's talk soon.
Bet. All right, now.
Be well.
Guys, that's Emilio Bucks from the Plunk Podcast. Talking White Sox baseball, Cubs baseball as well. All right, it's going to be fun, man. It's big. I'm excited. You know what? I was mad with my guys before, but I'm excited now as it's approaching. I'm just really. Baseball's fun. Baseball's fun. Baseball. I would say baseball might be the most personal sport. Shawn, what do you mean by that? Well, I'm glad you asked. By personal, I mean it's the sport to me where you get to commute, you get to talk and bond with whoever it is, okay, that you go with. All right, because there's so much downtime between pitches, between innings, okay, between pitching changes. You know what I mean? There's a lot of conversation with the person that you go with. And so you understand why the bonds of parent and child, father and son, father and daughter, mother and son, mother and daughter, all right, we're so strong, all right, in fan bases, in White Sox, with the White Sox, with the Cubs, all right, because you go through, games are long. They're 3 hours. Well, now they're about 2.5 hours now. But back in the day, they're 3 hours long. Okay, and if you're at the game or you're watching the game, it's a lot of conversation back and forth between you and that person, and what you're doing with the conversation, you're developing bonds. All right, the bond that you develop with your parents, it's a bonding moment, those games. And so when the Sox won it in 05 and the Cubs won it in 16, man, there were just so many people who were overcome with joy and sadness because had their loved one been, passed away prior to them winning, it's an emotional moment. So, you understand why tons of people were crying for the Sox in 05 and the Cubs in 16, because it took them back to that spot probably when they were kids, talking with and spending time with their parents. If you're a Cub for the Sox, it's been so long. For the Cubs, you had 83, the ball goes through Leon Durham. All right, the Leon Durham leg. You had 03, you had the Bartman situation. Okay, there was just, I think it was 87 too. It went through. Well, the ball went through Buckner's in 84, and then was it later? Leon Durham went through his legs, and then the Bartman thing. And so to have that joy, all right, realized by fans, not being able to share it with the people who brought them into the fandom, yeah, it's emotional. It's emotional. So I may go, but I damn sure am telling you, I'm getting the tickets off the secondary market for $1 or $2. All right. I'm still not driving to the damn place. I'm still not driving. I'm parking. My cheap ass. I'm parking it at the Mariano's parking lot, closer to 33rd and Ashland. Walking to 35th in Ashland and catching the bus. Bump that. You know what? I wonder how much. Oh, tickets. Parking's $35 this year. Yep, 35. It was 30 last year. Now it's 35. It was 27 the year before. It was 25 the year before that. It was 20 the year before that. They get you coming and going, man. So So I'm interested to see how this Shohei Ohtani situation plays out. Remember, follow the money. Follow the money. They're not going to get rid of Shohei. They're not going to ban him for life. No way, Jose. Because there could probably be an out for all those Japanese outlets who are paying top dollar to the Dodgers, all right, to get their streaming rights and things like that, their games, either on radio or on, on their streaming services over there. That's a lot of money the MLB is going to lose. That's a lot. Remember, if you're paying this dude $700 million over the course of his career, what are you making? That's the question. So I just can't wait to see. And it's just like the big guy, the guy, the little guy never wins. All right. When you're caught in a crime, and if you got enough resources, a lot of times you're able to get away with it, which is why the divide in the lower to middle class, has a divide between the upper middle class and upper class, because of the benefits that you get from being in those upper classes. So we're going to see. And believe you me, with $700 million coming his way, Shohei Ohtani is definitely in that upper class. upper class. But you know what? I'm excited about it. And I actually am excited a little bit about my White Sox. Just a little bit. Not too much. Not get crazy. A little bit about my White Sox. Maybe they do come together. As I said, there's still talent on that team. This is not a team devoid of talent. It's not a team that has been gutted. Yes, you got Tim Anderson gone. You Kenny Williams, in his last move as general manager, set Jake Berger. That pissed me off. That was just horrible. All right, but there still is talent. Now, pitching wise, man, we got rid of Giolito. We got rid of Clevenger. We got rid of Dylan Cease. Like, who's there to, Garrett Crochet? Like, that's our dude. That's our man. That's our ace. Do we even have an ace? Do we? I don't think we do. I don't even think we have a number one. I think they're just starting Garrett Crochet out of you've been here the longest. You had Kopech maybe, but because they relegated him to the bullpen. But why not start? Just give him 3 innings. Why not start Kopech and give him 3 innings? All right, if you're a middle reliever, you might have to come in for 3 innings anyway, unless you're going to use him as a closer. So a lot of questions that need to be answered for my White Sox, as well as the Cubs. The Cubs have a lot of questions too. Their starting rotation, their bullpen, the closer. Okay, a lot of eyes, a lot of expectations, a lot of eyes. Now that you have Craig Counsell, arguably the best manager in baseball, calling the shots. You re-signed all your peoples, all right, namely, in particular, Cody Bellinger. You're expecting big things from a lot of the youngsters, like the Chris Morel. You're expecting a lot of good things from this man. It looks like they're going to settle on him at third, so his bat is in the lineup every day. So yeah, there's a lot to be excited about if you are a Cub fan. So enjoy it. They start in Texas on Thursday. I'm sure you guys are going to be glued to the TV. Many of you are going to head down to Wrigleyville to watch the game in the shadow of the friendly confines while your Cubs are in Texas. White Sox will be here on Thursday. It'll be fun. So listen, let's take a quick break. On the other side of the break, we're going to welcome our guy, Lauren Cox. He's from the Locked On Bears podcast. We're going to talk a bit about what's going on with Ryan Poles. Is it a done deal they're taking Caleb? All right. We've got confirmation. Ryan Poles confirmed or stated this morning. Okay, but through multiple outlets. I just gave you the CHGO one when I was looking at it. That Caleb Williams is coming in the first week of April, which is next week. Or does he mean the first full week of April, which is the week of the 8th through the 14th? Because you got to say the first week of April. Well, he didn't say full, so I guess it is next week. So that'll be good. And we can get all this together, get it, and finally put it all to rest. But there's just too much drama in that. I don't understand why the drama was necessary. The one, when they interviewed Caleb at his pro day, I'm telling you, there was something about the question that Steve Wilkes asked him. It's like, is it he said to the extent that they traded Justin Fields to clear the runway for you. Is that pretty much a done deal? He's like, well, things change. We don't know. Blah, blah, blah. As opposed to saying, yeah, things, because what's the secrecy? What's the secret? Like, who are you trying to fool? Why the shenanigans? Why the shadiness? I don't know. We'll talk to Lauren Cox on the other side of the break, so don't go anywhere, folks. Keep it locked right here. Shawn and Maya in the morning on Sports Zone Chicago.
Fields a run for 17. Back he goes. Here comes Chubb. There goes the ball. Touchdown! Jones will walk at the left tackle. Time for Fields. Now he'll accelerate to get the first down. Great tackles, and he's off to the races. And we got a terrific block.
For every generation, it has started with the call to serve. Discovering the purpose and the belonging earned with the title. Learning to dig deep and push through adversity together. Defending our nation and its people. It is a life of great worth and reward. But Marines are never really finished serving. Their commitment comes full circle, visible in communities across our country. This is Semper Fidelis, always faithful, always Marine, marking a path for the next generation.
So I've come up with a family emergency plan.
Great. What is it?
It's difficult to talk about, so I'm not telling you.
How will we know what to do?
You won't.
I'm so glad I won't have to remember anything.
And me too. Thanks for this, sweetie.
Talk to your kids about who to call, where to meet, what to pack. Search Ready Kids at nyc.gov or call 311.
Justin, probably one of the harder things I had to do. I know, I was kind of touching on the empathy part. Like having that conversation with my own son was hard. His jersey's up in his room, so it kind of puts that into perspective of how difficult those moves are.
Welcome back to Shawn and Maya in the morning on Sports Zone Chicago. That clip courtesy of Patrick Finley, that from for Twitter, down to the meetings down in Orlando. That was Ryan Poles as he addressed the media there. It's still a difficult thing for many Bears fans. Interesting. And for other Bears fans, it's fair. They fail to see why it's so difficult. All right, it all depends on what side of the fence you stand on. So my next guest, he's on the Caleb side, if I'm not mistaken. So we're going to talk to him about that and this setup for him. You can find him. He's every day. He's on he's the host of the Lockdown Bears podcast. He's a good friend of the program, and you can catch him on Twitter at Cox Sports One, like Fox Sports One, but with a C. Let's bring him back. Our man, Lauren Cox. Lauren, what's up, Papa? How are you? Good morning.
Hey, good morning. Thanks for having me. Doing well, and I forgot Ryan Poles would be talking today. So when I first checked Twitter this morning, I was like, oh yeah, there's a whole lot of updates there, but nothing too crazy. But good to kind of hear from him after some big moves. Yeah.
So give me your first. We'll go back to last week. What 9 days ago or so. Your first thought when you heard the news, when it came across Twitter, or you got the notification that they were trading Justin Fields to Pittsburgh. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, right away, the compensation was the first thought because I mean, I think we kind of felt like the trade was going to happen at some point. It was just a matter of when, not if. But then right away, the 2025 conditional sixth round pick struck me as boy a reflection of a poor quarterback market right now, and perhaps not the best timing and handling of Fields as a trade asset, but also the Bears being a little bit hamstrung here in terms of how they wanted to handle it with Justin and how the rest of the quarterback market played out a little bit outside of their control. And I don't know, I'm left kind of feeling like it was a ripping off of the Band-Aid, and you took what you could get, and all right, time to move on, I guess.
Yeah, it was interesting. Like, first of all, I don't think he's going to want to do business with the Pittsburgh Steelers for a while. I think he'll steer clear of them for obvious reasons. Do you think that he did what he said? He followed through on what he said, and that was doing right by Justin.
Yeah, I do, because of Justin's level of involvement in the process. That, I mean, doing right by Justin can mean a lot of different things, and probably big picture, was it where they wanted Justin to go? Probably not. Was it where Justin really wanted to go? Probably not. But like, given how the circumstances played out in terms of what teams were actually interested in Justin and what was available to him and where other quarterbacks ended up going, like, this felt like as right by Justin as they could do, given how it played out. You know, they turned down offers from other teams. I heard Philadelphia was one of those teams that called the Bears and were interested before they traded for Kenny Pickett, and Justin didn't really want to go be Jalen Hurts' backup because there's not really a great path to playing time there, but Pittsburgh represented the best opportunity for Justin and the one that he was most interested in. So, you know, they did right by him in that regard, and probably took ever so slightly less. You know, could they've gotten a conditional 5th round pick or something from another team? Maybe, but Bears kind of felt like, all right, this is as good as we can do by Justin right now in terms of a trade. So it was kind of I don't want to say the best of both worlds, because it feels like neither Fields nor the Bears got what they wanted, but neither one got completely screwed. They just both ended up with less than they wanted, but I guess at least both of them got something that they wanted.
Yeah, guys, we're joined by Lauren Cox, the host of the Locked On Bears podcast, talking Bears football here on Shawn and Maya in the morning on Sports Zone Chicago. Yeah, I'm still hurt about it. And the moves that he made, that everything signaled that it was, well, to me, it signaled like, okay, you're not going to bring in a veteran receiver, for a rookie on the last year of his deal. There's a lot, but, Poles surprised us. Do you see Poles surprising people again and trading that number 1 pick for someone else? There's been rumors of Jaden Daniels. Not too much. There's been rumors of trading a Hall, going to the Chargers coming up and giving Justin Herbert. So JJ McCarthy could get drafted by his old college coach. What do you think the possibilities of those things happening are? Poles surprised a lot of people. He probably surprised some people, not a lot of people, or not the majority of people, but he did surprise people with the trade. What do you think? There's another surprise up his sleeve like that?
I would say it's pretty close to 0% right now that they do anything else but draft Caleb Williams with the number 1 overall pick. I think they are 99.99% sure that's what they're going to do. Ryan Poles won't come out and outright say it because there's still a full month until the draft. And I mean, if some team came out with some kind of crazy offer, could he possibly consider it? I mean, again, like a 0.001% chance, or like if between now and draft day something crazy comes out about Caleb Williams, some criminal thing or some kind of really bad, out of nowhere, unexpected red flag type situation. I mean, are they 100% locked in on drafting Caleb Williams? I guess no, but I think they're 99.9. I think they're very, very comfortable with the idea of drafting Caleb Williams. They just want to make sure that they do the private workout. They check every single box and not just get so excited about the player that they're going to ignore, any kind of last minute thing. Like, no, they're going to make sure they do everything on it, but they're as close to 100% as you can be without being 100%.
What do you say? What do you think the reason is for Caleb being very difficult? All right. Refusing to take the medicals at the combine, refusing to throw at the combine, and refusing to give anyone medicals at his pro day. What do you think the reason for that is? Why do you think that is that? And would that scare the Bears off?
I think he's got more leverage than any other player in the NFL draft and more leverage than a lot of players in previous NFL drafts. Like, this is the kind of thing that only the number one top quarterback or really top player at his position can get away with no consequences, because he knows he's the better option among all the quarterbacks in this draft, and he knows that all the teams want to get him. So he doesn't necessarily have to play by the traditional rules there. It's my understanding that the Bears did get his medicals ahead of time in some form. It's not, he did not do the complete medical testing that they will still want him to do when he comes in for his private workouts, but he did supply them with enough medical records to feel comfortable with where he's at medically. But he didn't need to throw at the combine to know whether he's any good or not. He didn't need to run a 40-yard dash to know whether he's the best quarterback in the draft. And he did throw at his pro day and showed some of what he can do with his arm there, which, again, I don't think he even needed to do that, but it was good to at least kind of see him out there and throwing in front of people that he can kind of remind you or showcase again, like, this is where he is as a quarterback right now. So I think it's just a position of power that he's in right now, and I don't think it'll ultimately end up scaring off the Bears or anybody else. Ryan Poles talked about it there. They had a great meeting with him and mentioned how, at dinner with Caleb Williams, he didn't touch his phone like the whole time. That was something that Poles stood up to him, like, for a 22-year-old to be, at a meal, big job interview, and not be on his phone whatsoever, not even checking it or even having it out on the table. Like, I think every time they meet with Caleb Williams, they have no concerns whatsoever. And anytime they talk to anybody around Caleb Williams, they have no concerns whatsoever. It's all like outside noise when we say, well, he didn't do this, well, he didn't do that. Well, it doesn't seem to be anything that the Bears are particularly concerned about, and nothing is coming off as bad from him in any of the interactions they have with him.
Why the secrecy? Why? He was asked by, I believe it was Stephen Wilkes on the NFL Network at his pro day, and and he kind of gave him the alley-oop and said, hey, you know what? The Bears traded Justin Fields, clearing the pathway, the runway for you, and he didn't really commit. He's like, yeah, well, things kind of change. Why do you think there's that? Because if you're happy to come to Chicago, like, yeah, I'm looking forward to going to Chicago. I'm looking forward to this, and they have the number one pick. Like, there's no need for the secrecy. There's no need. It's literally clearly just not necessary. And it's been secret the whole time. Him pushing the visit back. Like, why push the visit back? They're like, oh, well, he wanted to prepare. But then you're at Augusta National or whatever the golf tournament was a couple of days after that, when you could have just flown to Chicago, given your medicals, and been a done deals, literally started working on your contract is what you could have done. Why do you think he has that? Just to be difficult because he can?
Well, I think the Bears have been equally secret. Like, even Ryan Poles today wouldn't say that they're going to draft Caleb Williams. Like, he said, they asked him, like, when will he know? He's like, I don't know. It'll just be a feeling or whatever. But I mean, like, the Bears know they want to draft Caleb Williams. Like, he doesn't have
his medical. So, he can't do that. That's definitely something you're not going to do. You're not going to draft him, and you definitely can't trade him if you don't have his medical. So that's why I feel he's saying he's still a little, guarded.
Well, I've heard that the Bears got some medicals. They don't have all the medicals. They haven't been able to do, like, they haven't had their doctors do their medical testing with him, but he got medical records from them from USC and from, like, the past couple of seasons of medical records from college for him. So, like, again, not enough that you're going to for sure, like, all right, 100% we're going to lock it in, but, like, publicly in the past, when you have teams like this that are going to draft the quarterback, like, they can just say it at some point when you have the number one overall pick. There's no reason to keep being secret. But the bigger point being that, like, okay, until the Bears say we're taking Caleb Williams then doesn't know for sure that the Bears are going to take him. Like, until they tell him that we're for sure going to take you and that they publicly say we're going to take you, then Caleb can't sit there and go, I'm going to the Bears, because they haven't told him for sure yet that they're going to take him. So he can't sit there and go to the interview and say, all right, like, I'm really excited to be a Chicago Bear. But he did say in the ESPN article before the combine that if the Bears draft him, he'd be happy to be there. And if the Washington Commanders draft him, he'd be happy to be there. He'll be happy wherever he ends up being drafted. So I really don't think there's any actual problem here with Caleb or with the Bears or with how this is going. It's just everybody's taking their time because there's still a month until draft day.
Okay. For me, it just seems like if it's a done deal, like, I don't see why he's, again, the secrecy. What about his dad? What about it? Because there's something's not right to me, Lauren. Like, for me, like, if they just come out and said it, or even something said, yeah, I'm looking forward to getting drafted by the Bears if they have the number one overall pick or whatever. Or if they don't draft me, whoever else gets me, I'd be happy to go to that because I'm happy just to be in the NFL and show my talents. You don't have to. You're not dissing anybody. You're not dissing Washington if you say you're happy to be getting drafted by the Bears. You know what I mean? You're not saying the hell with Washington, every other team, they all suck. No, you can do that in a very respectful way. Say, hey, I'd be excited to go to Chicago, or I'd be excited to go to Washington if I get the chance to go. You know what I mean? Why? There's just something wrong. There's something not right here, and I think a lot of it has to do with the lack of medicals. And I don't know. Then that to me is the biggest thing. Like, why not do it? Why not just go to the combine after? Why not go to Chicago? You're down I-65. All right, it takes a 20, 30-minute private jet that I'm sure you're driving with your $10 million in NIL money. All right. Take a quick thing, a day or two, boom, boom. It's just something just doesn't seem right, Lauren. I don't know what it is. I can't put my finger on it. And maybe it's just me being a conspiracy theorist, but I think I just don't know. It's just not, something just doesn't sit well with me. I don't know.
A lot of it just feels like none of it has, yes, you agreed. Like, Caleb Williams has done this abnormally, right? That's undeniable. He has gone about this process in a way that feels, that most people haven't gone through it, and he's taken
different
and power back in ways that other quarterbacks have not. And that's where I think it opens him up to this idea. But I just think, like, everything he said, everything Ryan Poles has said still feels like full steam ahead. And to me, it's that ESPN article from February 28th. The quote, "If I get drafted by the Bears, I'll be excited. If they trade the pick and I get drafted by somebody else, I'm just as excited." Like, speaking of Chicago, they have a talented team, a talented offense and defense. For anyone to be in that situation, I think they'd be excited. Like, he said, "I'll be happy if the Bears take me. I'll be happy if someone else takes me." Like, to me, like, that's end of story. I think the dad stuff is all noise. That, his dad hasn't said anything publicly on the record about anything. There's not really much that they can do. Like, they're gonna go whoever takes him with the number one overall pick. So the ball's just in the Bears' court to say, yep, we're taking him. We're happy with the medicals. We're happy with everything else. Or no, we're going to take somebody else. And as soon as that happens, then Caleb's full speed ahead with the Bears. And if the Bears don't for some reason, then Caleb will be happy going to wherever else he would go.
What kind of situation, how great of a situation is it that he's stepping into? Some people have said it's the greatest situation, me being some people, the greatest situation, a number one overall pick, a quarterback as a number one overall pick has ever stepped into in the history of the NFL. Give me your thoughts. They just drafted Keenan Allen. They just signed another tight end. They've made additions to the offensive line. They upgraded the running back room with DeAndre Swift. How great of a situation is it for this new quarterback, whether it's Caleb, which is most likely, or someone else? How great of a situation?
Yeah, it feels like you couldn't hope for anything better. Like, it's never going to be perfect, right? There's always more you'd like to do. But as far as a general, like, expectations of what a rookie quarterback comes into, that you absolutely feel like this is set up for putting him in his best position as possible to succeed. When you have, I think Keenan Allen was the acquisition of the offseason at this point, like the biggest move Ryan Poles has made in terms of, like, benefiting this team this year. I mean, obviously the Justin Fields trade is bigger in terms of the kind of the magnitude of what it stands for, but in terms of, like, biggest impact on the success of the roster this offseason, it's Keenan Allen for me, being a guy that just knows how to get open. Like, he'll be the underneath read when DJ Moore is the over top read in terms of high-low stuff, and being able to come back to Keenan Allen is just a guy that, whenever you're going through your progression, you just know he's going to be open. But then having two tight ends that can take check downs and turn them into first downs as underneath guys, or can be vertical threats as well. Like, I think between Allen and then Gerald Everett signed, like, you've got so much more versatility that Shane Waldron can use in this offense. Then you add a better pass catching back in Swift and have a variety of backs in the backfield. Like, all the weapons are pretty well where you'd like them to be. Maybe still add a number 3 receiver, but you can't the beggars can't be choosers there. I still wish Ryan Poles had been a little bit more aggressive at the center position and with the offensive line. Like, I feel like they kind of went with the committee approach there, which I get. Like, you can't just sign the biggest free agent at every position, and you can't just acquire a Pro Bowl player at every position. But I don't like the idea that even as we stand today, Bates and Coleman Shelton are going to be competing to start at center probably, and I don't know that either one is like a great bona fide can't miss center. Like, they're both probably starting caliber centers in the NFL, but might have some ups and downs. I just wish that spot was, like, really 100%, no questions, this is our guy, and you're locked in at the center position. But again, like the rest of the supporting cast is so good that I don't want to like nitpick and say, oh, well, Caleb Williams is screwed because I have questions about the center position. Like, no, it's still a really good spot. I just wish like I could sit there and say, O-line, done. No questions. Everybody's locked in. And like, it should be fine, but I don't like that the threshold is it should be fine as opposed to it is great.
You don't think Sheldon's a dude? I mean, I know it's a 1-year deal. You don't think they they couldn't address this in the draft this year or in the draft next year? They have quite a few picks next season as well. Still only 1 first rounder next year, but they got a couple 2s and some other things. You think they can address it at that particular point? Because I agree that, I mean, I think that was a huge part of the failure last year was the center position. It's just that was a big part of the offensive line, and we've seen the all 22 where, you know, Justin's getting the ball rolled back to him over his head, this and all of a sudden, or the one technique or the zero technique is just manhandles the center and he's in the backfield. He's taking before he hits the top of his route, his drop, the dude's in his face. So you don't think Shelton can do good for a year? I mean, he was a starting center for the Rams for a season, so it seems to me like an upgrade.
It's an upgrade. It's just a matter of like how much of an upgrade, right? Like he's a starting caliber center in the NFL, but if you know, like I wouldn't have to like rank the starting centers in the NFL, but you know, I think he's more in the like 15 to 20 range as opposed to like, you know, top 15, top 10. Like he's different and he should be better and more consistent than Lucas Patrick, but I don't think of him as like a top flight center or a guy who, you know, I think there's a reason why the Los Angeles Rams were willing to move on. I think that's a spot that they were, you know, obviously they drafted a guy in the second round last year and we're kind of grooming to replace him. But like, that's kind of what we're kind of hoping the Bears would do too. And I think I wanted the guy that you're not planning on replacing the following year, like not just for a continuity standpoint, but just for like if you sign this center with the idea that, okay, we need to get a better long-term option. Like I would rather have the better option right now. Like the idea is that, okay, he can get by for a year. Sure. I think he'll be all right. But like, I would rather have the center where it's like, boom, like we got our guy and he's going to be rock steady, rock solid, as opposed to this is a guy that we like, but we'd like to replace him with a better, younger player over time. Like let's just have that right now, ideally. But you know, again, like, he can't do everything in one offseason and he can't fix the entire offensive line and add everything. Like I get it, but I just wish I had no questions or no hesitancy whatsoever across the board on the O-line. And I still just, yeah, he'll be fine. And I just want better than fine at center.
Okay, so there's still some uneasiness there. And again, guys, we're joined by Lauren Cox. He's the host of the Locked On Bears podcast. Talking Bears football with your guy here, the SuperBack on Shawn and Maya in the morning on Sports Zone Chicago. So let's talk about the 9 pick. What do you do there? One of my guys, Brian says draft, you know, JPJ. Now that I think somehow, call me crazy, that would settle your fears at your concerns at center, but then now you're missing out on a one of the receivers because we figure Marvin Harris is gone at that point, so Odunze or Neighbors will most likely be there. Brock Bowers will most likely be there. Joe Alt or Fasciano might be there. Okay, and then you have a center. What would you do with the number 9 pick?
I will say I wouldn't draft a center with the number 9 overall pick. I think JPJ is the best center in this draft and a really good football player, but the positional value is not there. And I think certainly you could trade down from 9 and end up drafting JPJ, you know, mid to late first round. And I think that ends up being a lot better value for you there. But certainly, like, I want to go with, if I'm staying at 9, I want to go with a more premium position. Absolutely. Wide receiver, edge rusher, offensive tackle. And as we've gone through this process, like, I certainly believe all 3 of those top receivers, Marvin Harrison Jr., Malik Neighbors, and Rome Odunze, are well worth the 9th overall pick. And if they're there, like, you would be hard to pass on any of them. I don't think they will be there at this point, but there's certainly a possibility that they are. But I also find myself feeling like I would rather use the pick ideally on an edge rusher or an offensive tackle, because I think if we're going to nitpick between, like, okay, all those are really important positions, obviously, but where can I get a really good edge rusher at 9? Or sorry, where can I get a really good edge rusher? Where can I get a really good offensive tackle? And where can I get a really good wide receiver? Like, there are a lot of good wide receivers in this draft. And historically, you see really good wide receivers get drafted in the second and third rounds. That you look at some of the leading receivers in the league this year, or a lot of the leading receivers in the league this year, not very many of them, or not as many of them as you think, are first round picks. Like guys in the second and third rounds often go on to become great receivers, but you don't see that as much at edge rusher and at offensive tackle. Typically, if you really want to get an elite pass rusher or an elite offensive tackle, you got to get them in the first round, early in the first round. But you can sometimes find elite wide receivers elsewhere in the draft. So like, as much as I love Adunze Neighbors, Marvin Harrison, and would probably take them if they're at 9, like I'm not married to the idea that I have to get one of these wide receivers at 9, and I would be just as happy getting an offensive tackle or an edge rusher. And especially if I could even trade down a couple of spots and still get an edge rusher or an offensive tackle, like that feels the ideal path to me. Like, do I have to take Dallas Turner at 9, or could I trade down to 11, 12, 13 and still get Dallas Turner, like the same player, wouldn't get some extra picks? That feels like the ideal path to me, but I wouldn't be mad at a wide receiver, and I wouldn't be mad staying there taking a tackle or an edge rusher.
Have you seen anyone that has done well for themselves that really came on the scene late, in this whole draft process, from the combine to, pro day workouts? Have you heard, who was your guy that you say, well, I didn't know much about him or a lot about him, but he's getting a lot of buzz? Do you have anyone like that?
Like you mean like up around the 9th overall pick?
No. Just not in the 9th overall pick. No, just in general.
Yeah, I was gonna say, when you're picking that high, usually it's like we kind of know the top guys. No one is.
Yeah, we got to like the top 20, pretty set.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, I think a couple of the combine standout guys, like the Florida State defensive linemen, both Jared Verse and then I'm forgetting the name of the defensive tackle, Brendan. Both of those guys. I think Verse was kind of in the conversation, but Fiske really jumped up. He had a great Senior Bowl and then was electric at the combine in terms of how fast he was able to run. Like, that's a guy who I don't know was a first round caliber player before, but is playing himself in that range. And I also think Johnny Newton from Illinois, like I know he's kind of been in this conversation, but like I think he's really been that guy that, like, because we haven't seen, he wasn't able to work out at the combine, and I think he's recovering from some kind of foot or other minor injury thing. Like, he's kind of flown under the radar a bit as a guy that we kind of forget about because his name's not in the news cycle because he wasn't at the Senior Bowl, wasn't at the combine and stuff. But like, his tape is really, really good, and he's going to be a top 20 player, if not a top 15, borderline top 10 player, and maybe the first interior guy off the board. Like, that's a guy who I think you get really excited about.
Looking at the defense, they added Kevin Byard. All right, talk to me about that. You replace one Pro Bowler or All Pro with another All Pro. So the level of play shouldn't drop off as much. But give me your thoughts about that defense, because now your secondary is still intact. Now you're the final last line of defense is probably still the strength. The linebacker might be the second strongest, and arguably the D line is third. Arguably, talk to me about how this defense is going. Do you feel this defense is going to play with? As of right now, we don't have anyone opposite except DeMarcus Walker, outside of Sweat. I'm talking about Javon Curse has made massive improvements the last 5-6 weeks of last year. Billings, hell, he got an extension mid-season, so his job is, the things he were doing was crazy. Talk to me about this defense overall and how dominant you think this defense can be.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing how Kevin Byard can bounce back a little bit in Chicago, because things just didn't go great in Philadelphia for anybody in that defense, and it felt like that, I think that worked out well for the Bears to keep his value low, because I don't think that's where you're going to see this. Like, it didn't look to me like that was Byard, being old and losing a step or something like that. It just felt like, they had no help with the secondary, and the way they were using him was weird. And the way they use him in Chicago is going to be important too, because I think he's a guy who, in an ideal role, gets to play more down near the line of scrimmage and in the box and coming downhill in a lot of the ways that you want to use Jaquan Brisker. And so I think it gives you some versatility that you like both of those guys, in the running game and come up your line of scrimmage and in the slot. But it also means that both those guys are going to have to play deep, maybe more than you would ideally like. It's sort of the trade-off here. It's like you can be more multiple when you have two guys that can do a little bit more of everything, but neither one is that like deep middle of the field specialist, that true rangy ball hawk guy on the backside. So when either of those guys are put back there, like, it's not their specialty, but they can still do it and do it pretty well. But it's not like, it's not like their specialty in the Eddie Jackson style of safety who just roams around back there. So I'm curious to see how multiple Matt Eberflus gets with these guys and how much each one's kind of put in that situation and how both of them can kind of step into that role and be more well-rounded and dynamic at the safety position. But I think they're going to be fine, and it's going to be a quality secondary, especially when you have, I mean, the talent the Bears have at cornerback will make those guys' jobs that much easier on the back end of safety. And ideally, if you can get a pass rusher in this draft to pair with Montez Sweat and Javon Dexter takes that next step, like obviously the pass rusher is going to have to make the quarterback get rid of the ball as quickly as they can so the secondary doesn't have to cover forever. But the secondary is good enough that they can cover longer to make the quarterback hold on to the ball longer so that the pass rush can get home. So it's a really symbiotic relationship there. And I think, you just want that one more edge rusher or interior guys would be fine too to bring the whole group together. But I still think this defense is going to be in good hands.
Yeah, they seem to be they're playoff ready. I think they're a playoff ready team. I think if they do get a stud edge rusher, and I think they're Super Bowl ready. Now the offense, on the other hand, got to catch up. If this thing doesn't work year one with Caleb, all right, he has just as good a chance of being a superstar like C.J. Stroud as he does of struggling, which most quarterbacks do. C.J. Stroud is an anomaly. If he struggles and they say they don't make the playoffs, which would be crazy because everything around, and not just him, but everything around all the upgrades, is Eberflus on the hot seat?
I think Eberflus's job security isn't going to be tied to a specific win or loss number, but I think it's going to be more of like a feeling around the direction of the team, right? Like, is it like the first half of last year, or does it feel like the second half of last year, right? So it's not like, okay, if the Bears win 7 games.
Definitely big difference.
Yeah, the big difference of a feeling is like, but it's like, if they win 7 games again, does that mean Eberflus did a bad job? Well, not necessarily. It'll kind of depend on how it feels. Like, to me, it's not like a specific win, but it's like, okay, does it feel like the guys are playing better than they should, or guys are, elevating their level of play? Does it feel like they're in some close games, but then, like they're right there with some of these teams, or does it feel like they're getting kind of out coached and blown out of the water consistently? Like they could be talented enough that Eberflus does a terrible job and they still win 7 games, but it's like it feels bad, so you fire Matt Eberflus. Or it could be that it's a rookie quarterback and some new pieces in a lot of places, and it takes some time to adjust, but they're making progress and they still only win 7 games. But it really felt like, wow, this team is building, so you keep Eberflus. And like that's why to me it's more of a feeling than a number about what is the general direction of this team. By the end of the season, does this feel like a team that's, wow, they're right on the precipice of a big jump, or does it feel like, wow, this team crashed and burned to somehow find its way to 7 wins, and we got to move on and get somebody else in there?
So do you hold a new quarterback to this? So we were talking playoff. We missed the playoffs, with a couple of epic collapses last year. Not all quarterbacks' fault, not all the offense's fault. Definitely some of the offensive play calling helped, but the defense still gave up those points. If there's no playoffs, because we most people before this whole thing happened, we're like, okay, the Bears are gonna make the playoffs next year. And you had the Keenan Allen and all these other things. Do you still hold that rookie quarterback to the same standard, especially if it's Caleb Williams, because this guy is labeled by many generational? And if you're generational coming into literally the best situation, or I don't even know if it's argued. I think it might be literally the best situation a number 1 overall quarterback has stepped into. Is the standard now the same, or do you have to make adjustments because guys don't step into 2 Pro Bowl receivers, 2 stud tight ends, a playoff ready and maybe a Super Bowl ready defense if they get an edge rusher? Is the standard the same? Is the minimum the playoffs with this new quarterback?
I think the standard changes a little bit because it's the Chicago Bears, right? I mean, the history of the quarterback position of this franchise, like Caleb Williams only needs to throw for, what is it, like 2,300 yards to set the franchise rookie record. Like the bar is pretty low here as far as it's separate from all the hype that surrounds Caleb Williams in a vacuum. Like if you just look at a rookie quarterback coming to Chicago, what would we expect a generic rookie quarterback? Like I think back to like Justin Fields early on. I know with Justin, like the expectation was that they wanted to sit him that season. I mean, and same with Mitch, but like this idea of like just come in and show us that we made the right pick. Like that's at the end of that's what the bare minimum expectation is. Show us that we made the right pick. Now, what does that look like? Does that mean it has to make the playoffs? I don't think so. But like, show us that you're great. Show us that this is the future of the franchise and that this is everything that we had hoped you would be. And I think it's perfectly reasonable to think he should set all of the Bears rookie passing yard records, passing yards, passing completions, passing touchdowns, I guess there's not really an interception record, but like, the lowest number you can get there. Like, set all of those records because they're not big records to break. And if you're the number 1 overall pick and you're this great quarterback, set those records. Now, does that mean playoffs? I mean, if he throws for 4,000 yards, yeah, but I don't think that's going to be the expectation necessarily. It's just look like you fit the part. You can make rookie mistakes and you might lose a couple games and you might throw a bad interception here or there. Like every rookie does that. But I don't think like CJ Stroud and the Houston Texans last season, I don't think that becomes the expectation. I think that becomes the goal. That's what you shoot for. But the expectation is like, look good, look competent, look like Ryan Poles made the right choice and give us that like that long-term hope of like, oh yeah, this kid gets it. Because I feel like you can tell pretty quickly, like this kid gets it or this kid doesn't. And even like with Fields in his first game, like there was a certain level of like, they put him in a terrible spot and he got sacked 9 times where it was like deer in the headlights, where it's like, yeah, we think he gets it, but there was like, whoa, here, we gotta slow down for a second here. Like, let's see Caleb just really get it. Like you can usually tell pretty quickly, is a kid dialed in and does he know what he's doing? Or is there a little bit of a deer in the headlights of like, okay, we actually got to slow it down a little bit and be more patient with this guy?
Well, my biggest thing is coaching matters.
Mm-hmm.
And, you talk about, his thing in Cleveland and deer in the headlights, because I don't even know if he had deer in the headlights because he couldn't see for the most part because every time he's back, there's someone in his face. But my question is, what about this new offensive staff? You've got Shane Waldron. You've got a guy who has a proven history of working with quarterbacks. He worked well with Russ. All right, first season he worked well with Geno. Hell, he even got Dino an extension. All right, very, very well under him. So my question again kind of goes back to, why wouldn't the standard be the same playoffs? Because this guy has shown that he can develop quarterbacks. And I don't know if he needed to develop Geno. I think he needed to revive his career. And he did completely, obviously getting an extension. Give me your thoughts on Shane Waldron and Kerry Joseph and Thomas Brown, the passing game coordinator, in this whole scenario.
Yeah, I'm cautiously optimistic about what they're going to be able to do. Like, I think they show you a lot to like on tape in previous offenses and what they've been able to do with different weapons and stuff. And I'm glad that they've now given him, Keenan Allen to pair with DJ Moore and now some tight ends too. Like they're giving him the kind of pieces he needs. So like Luke Getsy had that excuse for the first year and maybe change there where it was like, oh, well, this Bears offense doesn't have any receivers, doesn't have any of this. So that's why the offense doesn't look very good. But then, year 2, you add DJ Moore and some other stuff and it still doesn't really look that good. And then that's when you kind of get more clearly a look at what you had in the offensive coordinator spot. And you won't have that with Shane Waldron. Like right away, there's going to be expectations for this offense. But like in terms of playoffs and stuff, like if you look back, even with Waldron's offenses in Seattle, right? Like his first year, they as offensive coordinator, they went 7-10, and then they went 9-8 and 9-8. So it's not like even with Russell Wilson and then Geno Smith, like it's not like they were 10, 11, 12 win teams that were making big playoff runs. Like they did make the playoffs one of those years. I think the second year there they lost in the first round of the wild card, but it wasn't like, oh man, this offense was carrying that team to the playoffs. Now Caleb should be better than Geno Smith, maybe, but in year 1, I mean, Geno Smith was a 4,000 yard passer, almost a 4,000 yard passer. So like maybe not in year 1 will Caleb Williams be above what Geno Smith was at his best, because rookie quarterbacks can only do so much, but he should be by year 2 at the very latest. Like, so that's where it's like it's hard for me to say like it's got to be the playoffs, because there's more to it than just quarterback and offensive coordinator. I mean, the defense has to hold up, which again, if everything goes as it should, this should be a Bears playoff team. But like to set that as like the expectation, to me is a little bit more than I want to put on a new quarterback and a new staff with all these different moving parts. Like it's going to take a handful of games for everybody to really be locked in and on the same page. And maybe that means it's a slow start and then it's a harder path to the playoffs. But if you look good by the end of the season and looks like everything's in the right direction, then you can feel good about your offensive coordinator, your head coach, and your quarterback. And that's really what's most important.
Guys, he's our guy. He's Lauren Cox. He is the host of the Locked On Bears podcast. Dude, great stuff today, man. I appreciate it. Do me a favor, though. Let everyone know where they can find you and your work online.
Yeah, really appreciate you having me on. As always, you can follow me on Twitter at CoxSports1. And you can follow Locked On Bears on all the social media platforms. And we're 5 days a week on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts.
Dude, great stuff, buddy. I appreciate it. We'll be in touch soon.
Hey, thanks. Anytime.
All right, buddy. Bear down. Guys, that's our guy, Lauren Cox from the Locked On Bears podcast. gracing us with his time. Love having him on always. He's been rocking with us for years. And see people, we can be on opposite sides of the fence and we don't have to insult each other. That's crazy. He was a pro Caleb guy, and I was a pro Justin guy. And yeah, there's a lot. Again, there's a lot to be excited about. There's a lot to be, look forward to, because this is going to be the best situation that a quarterback has ever stepped into. All right, he's going to have stud receivers. He's going to have an upgraded offensive line. He's going to have a lot of things that he's got a 7-win team. Most quarterbacks who go number one don't even sniff. The team that they're going to probably didn't even sniff 7 wins. Okay. So I think there's going to be a lot of pressure on him. So it's interesting. I personally think there's going to be a lot of pressure on him. You can't just start developing and let me take my time. You better hit the ground running. You have a guy who's developed or worked well with Russell. He developed Geno Smith. So I think there should be a lot of the learning curve should be shortened. All right. I'm not expecting him to pass for 4,000 yards. He'll probably beat the rookie record, the Bears rookie passing record. Well, that's not going to be difficult to do. Okay. With the stud receivers, the stud tight ends. And I think the biggest thing they're going to do is run the ball. I think that's going to be one of the biggest things that they do is run the ball. They run the ball, and that's going to set up a lot. So Shane Waldron loves to use 12 and 13 personnel. For those of you who don't know what that means, the two numbers signify what position. So say 12 personnel is 1 running back, 2 tight ends. Okay. 13 personnel is 1 running back, 3 tight ends. If you use 21 personnel, is 2 running backs, 1 tight end. Okay. 11 personnel, 1 running back, 1 tight end, 3 wide. And then the number left, because there's 5 eligible receivers, the number left is the number of receivers. So 11 personnel is 3 wide receivers. So this is going to be very interesting to see how it plays out. All right. We have to see how, the first week of April. So next week after Easter, Justin, Freudian slip. Caleb is scheduled to visit the Bears on with a private visit, come up to Hallis. They should get his medicals there. Get the physical. Yeah, look what he did with DJ Metcalf and Lockett. Yeah. No, Derek, here's the thing. No one ever doubted his talent. See, the thing that people, and you can go back at any podcast I was on, I've never doubted his talent. Never did that at all. Okay. The young man is a great, has the makings of being a great quarterback in the NFL. All right. I just said that I felt that the best person to run this was Justin. I thought he needed some coaching, like the coaching that Caleb's going to get. He needed an extra weapon, like the extra weapon Caleb is going to get. All right. He needed extra protection on the line, like the extra protection on the line that Caleb's going to get. So all these things all these things are. It's unfortunate when you see a guy who carried this, and I'm not going to go into the Justin thing. And I just want to move forward, but the thing that we're going to hear is if Caleb does do well, which Bears fans want him to do well, they're going to well, see, he was better, blah, 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 blah. But again, that's the ignorance of people. Okay. Because when it all said and done, coaching matters. And which is why I asked Lauren, I said, what is the expectation? Because you got offense, you've got an upgraded wide receiver. All right. You've added another one, another stud, Pro Bowl, all pro. You added another tight end. You've upgraded the running back room. You've added depth to the offensive line. And you added a guy who's developed quarterbacks, who's called plays before, developed quarterbacks. And then you got a guy behind him, the passing game coordinator, who is interviewing to be our offensive coordinator. So you have a lot of great offensive minds who are not rookies or first time in their position, first time offensive coordinators. No, It's not the case. Shane Waldron has called plays. Kerry Joseph, first-time quarterback coach. No, he's been a quarterback coach before. All right. Mr. Brown, Thomas Brown, he may not have been a passing game coordinator, but he was an offensive coordinator. Call plays. So this is a phenomenal situation. This is a phenomenal situation for whoever's drafted number one overall whoever's drafted number one by the Bears, their first pick. And the expectations should be pretty high because this is a situation that is unprecedented. Unprecedented. So we'll see. We will see. I'm excited to see how this plays out. We're at the end of the fans, and we want the Bears to win. And when people come at me, and it's annoying, when people create their own agenda, or it's just I have an opinion. I have you're saying the situation is different from Justin Fields. It's not fair to judge them. I'm not sure what you mean. Like you should, because now because of what you're stepping into. That's what I'm saying. I mean, look at CJ Stroud. Like people looked at that, and people forget that how many top 5 picks did Houston have the years leading up to last season, where they got CJ and then they got Will Anderson. So how many top 5 picks did they have at that particular point? So no, to me, the goal is still the playoffs. Now, maybe not as deep in the playoffs. Like I said last year before it all happened, that they could probably get to the NFC Championship game. That would be the ceiling for the Bears this year, had they kept Justin. That would be the ceiling. It doesn't mean they're going to get there. It means, to me, as far as they would go, that they could go, would be the NFC Championship game. But I said most likely they would probably lose in the division round the week before. All right, that was the ceiling. That was my thought before the trade and everything else. So for me, my thing is you still need to make the playoffs. So that defense can't regress. That defense can't regress. Yeah, Caleb is stepping into a great situation. Yeah, he is. So you can't expect the defense to regress. You can't. Now, if there's injuries, completely different story. Completely different story. Okay? But this defense needs to be, now remember, Sweat only came over at the trade deadline. So imagine a whole offseason with him working with this team. All right, Javon Dexter. This defense was definitely on an upswing. So I don't foresee, and Flus is still calling the plays. Flus is still calling a defensive signal. So there's no reason to think that this defense is going to regress. You got everybody back. Except for Eddie, but you swapped out Eddie for another All-Pro. You're okay. And Eddie wasn't, he was the leader in the locker room and in that meeting room with the DBs, but his play hadn't been reminiscent of Eddie Jackson the first 3 or 4 years of his career. So if Bayard does anything better than that, man. So this defense is not, I can't see it regressing. That only helps in offense, short fields. Randy, dude coming in with a weapon, a better O-line, good defense, better coaching. Yeah, it's playoffs or bust. They have to make the playoffs. I said they were going to make the playoffs this year before the trade. And that's why I asked, is Eberflus on the hot seat then? I don't know if Eberflus is on the hot seat if the defense plays well. And if the offense struggles, well, you're gonna have a big contingency of people who are not happy at Bears games. All right, I would almost bet dollars to dimes that you'll have some people saying we want Justin at the game. Okay, unfortunately, the Bears have moved on from him. It's a moot point, but you're gonna have some. Still feel you're gonna have some people who are gonna be cheering that on, but it's. Ryan, you bring up a great point. Eric Washington is going to be a huge factor in this. the defensive line coach. We were talking about expecting Javon Dexter Sr. to take the next step. Oh, yeah, I believe he's going to take the next step. Oh, yeah, I think he's going to take the next step for sure. Javon Dexter Sr. is going to have a coming out party where he's going to say, hey, listen, I am here, Mother Hubbards, and you cannot stop me. He is. And so now what do we get? And let's not forget, DeMarcus Walker isn't bad. As I said, like, you can wait. I think he might. He might, dude. That dude is so strong. That dude has gotten so explosive and so powerful. Like, you might be able to wait. I think they're still going to get a DN. They may draft one, but you can go this year with DeMarcus Walker. Because here's my question: who do you double team? Because so you double team Sweat. Okay, that's 2 of the 5 linemen. You still got 3 linemen left. You only have 3 linemen left, and you have 3 defensive linemen. So that means Javon Dexter is going to get single blocked 1-on-1. It means Billings is going to get blocked 1-on-1. It means DeMarcus Walker is going to get blocked 1-on-1. Unless you keep a tight end in. Now you're taking guys out of the route. So then who do you double team? Billings? I think Billings would be the first person. I think the tight end would. I mean, it'd be tough to double team him because you can't bring the tight end inside interior. So Billings would probably be the only one, which means Javon Dexter still has a 1-on-1 matchup. And if there's any weakness in the game of a guard, so it's a backup guard. Maybe the guard's hurt. Maybe the guy's a rookie starter. Maybe he's Washington. I'm not worried about D-line. Washington's resume for coaching of D-linemen is very good. No, I think it's excellent, DC. I do. AC Adam, good morning. Thank you, Papa. Yeah, I agree. I do see him getting the best out of him. And that's the crazy part. That's the cool part. Because I think here's the thing that I'm expecting. I'm already expecting Javon Dexter to go ham. Okay. But I'm expecting Zach Pickens to take another step forward. Okay. I think Dominique Robinson, DeMarcus Walker. I think all these guys are going to take a step forward. In addition to Javon Dexter. Everyone's talking about Dexter because he played so well toward the end of the season. Yeah, and we should. But man, if all these other guys take a step forward, that defensive line is they're going to have a few meetings at the quarterback, and they're going to be very quick after the snap. And that's what you want as a secondary. That's what you want as a linebacking crew. All right, they get their hands up. All right, you want batted footballs, batted passes, deflected passes. And that is a sign for the Piranhas to come out. Everyone go for the ball at that particular point. It's a good time. I'm anxious to see the defense. I'm anxious to see the offense. I'm anxious to see if they take a lot off of the quarterback with running the ball, which they should. They should make it easy as possible for this quarterback and run the ball. You've upgraded the running back position. We have all seen the workouts that DeAndre Swift and Roschon Johnson have been doing, all right, all over Twitter. So you've seen those, Twitter and IG, you've seen them. So they're preparing for the season. So this run game should be pretty explosive, pretty powerful. And if you can win games controlling the clock and with the run, first of all, that's an offensive lineman's dream. That's a wet dream. We're running the ball 30 plus times, 35 times a game, maybe up to, man, I don't know one offensive lineman in the history of football that would not get excited about that. Imagine you run the ball 35 times and average 5 yards a carry. That takes a whole hell of a lot of pressure off your quarterback. A whole hell of a lot when you're averaging 5 yards a pop. So, DC, I agree. Thunder and lightning. I agree. I agree. So it's a good time. I'm excited. I'm excited because don't get me wrong. I still love me some Justin Fields, but I've moved on, and I'll still follow him from afar. I hope he does well over there. I'm excited because Ryan Poles has put this new quarterback in a position where he almost can't fail. And this is a crazy situation because for the most part, for the last even with Cutler, all Chicago Bear quarterbacks have been brought in a situation where it was difficult, where they couldn't succeed. Mitch had the outlier in 2018 where he was a Pro Bowl alternate. Okay. But then they wanted to stop him from running. And that's the same thing that happened to Mitch in 2019 is the same thing that happened to Justin in this past season. They wanted to stop him from running, and they wanted him to be from the pocket, win from the pocket. Well, they could still win from the pocket. You just don't take that aspect away from them, which they did with Justin and with Mitch Trubisky. Cornelius, yeah, with the injury history of Swift and Herbert, the Bears need all three runners. Yeah, they do, and it's gonna allow them to take less of a pounding. Okay, it'll allow them to take less of a pounding because you'll be able to rotate all three. Now, my only pushback is that I don't know if anyone's going to be able to get lathered up, and that's where, as a running backs coach and as an offensive coordinator, you have to say, okay, who's got the hot hand today? Who's got the hot hand today? Who's running their ass off today? And 1 week it could be Khalil Herbert. Another week it could be DeAndre Swift. Another week it could be Roshan Johnson. And you feed them. And you feed them. Then you give them a blow with one of the other two, but you go back to the dude who's eating on that particular day. And I think Shane Waldron has implemented 12 and 13 personnel. He's used his 2 and 3 tight end sets. And I hope upon hope that this tush-push nonsense is over. These stupid bubble screens are done on 3rd and short, 4th and short. I hope it's done. I hope they're done. Period. Done. And now you have an offensive line. You can go 23 personnel. 2 tight ends, a fullback, a tailback, and a tight end, and a third tight end in motion leading the way. Or have an offensive lineman check in as eligible. And just say, we're going to run the God-blessed ball here. And then later, fake tight end pop pass. There's so many different things, but I think this is going to benefit this quarterback greatly. So, Luis, I hope the Bears, I don't know if they're going to throw over 4,000 yards this season, but I definitely see it in the next couple of seasons, especially if Waldron stays for 2 seasons, and if he doesn't stay, and if they keep Thomas Brown as the offensive coordinator, because Waldron will probably take Joseph Perry, the QB coach. He'll probably take the QB coach with him if he gets a head coaching gig, and now you have Thomas Brown, who's interviewing for this OC job, step right in. So there'll be some consistency, some familiarity, So I think Ryan Poles has done a good job of insulating himself in Shane Waldron, who was scheduled to be one of the hot prospects, young prospects to get a gig this past season. He didn't get one. Okay. Maybe one more year. And if you develop a quarterback here and he gets 35 to 4,000 yards, he's gone. But the contingency plan that has been put together by Poles is one that's impressive. One that's impressive. Well, listen, 2 hours is come and gone. I want to thank my guests, Emilio Bucks from the Plunked podcast, for coming out and talking baseball with your boy. And I want to thank Lauren Cox from the Locked On Bears podcast for coming out and talking Bears football with me. Great stuff, man. I appreciate their time. I appreciate you guys. All right. Make sure you stay tuned to Sports Zone Chicago, because 12:15 we have Second City Sports with Lakina McGee and Sydney Brown. They're going to have 2 more hours of sports content with you to go crazy. They're going to talk in NCAA, more NCAA than we did today, than I did. Illinois is looking good. All the upsets. Kentucky busted everyone's brackets. So make sure you listen to those guys today. And then today at 3 o'clock, we'll be back here. I will be with the Daily Bears Talk with your boy, the SuperBack, and with Nomad. We'll be talking Bears. And then I'll be producing the podcast tonight. What's up, cuz? Jason Palmer, Lance Irvin. So your boy's busy podcasting today like crazy. But you know what? I'd have it no other way. So make sure you tune into Second City Sports at 12:15, and make sure you tune into the SuperBack and Nomad's Daily Bears Talk today at 3 o'clock. And then Sports Zone Chicago's last one, What's Up, Cuz, at 6. Busy day, busy day, busy day. All right. So everyone, my sports zoners, I appreciate the love and support. All the Nomaniacs who are in the chat, I appreciate the love and the support. Sports owners and No Maniacs unite. We come together, and make sure you follow us on social media. Follow us on Sports Zone Chicago, our Facebook page, okay, our Twitter handle. On Twitter, it's at Sports Zone Chi, CHI, and our YouTube page. All right, we've been having some really good numbers this last month of March. We're trying to increase that. There's a lot of things I want to do and move around. I can move around with more subscriptions. So please subscribe. It's free to our YouTube channel. Okay, download Sports Zone Chicago's mobile app, but also download our Roku channel. Be able to catch us on the big screen. All right. So for everyone here at Sports Zone Chicago, Elliot Baez, our executive producer, Clarence Council III, our social media guy, and Maya Kai, my co-host in absentia. Guys, I'm your boy, the SuperBack, Shawn Sierra. Have a wonderful day. It's supposed to be about 60 degrees today in the Chicagoland area. It's going to be nice. I got to go pick up the warden now from CrossFit. You know, I went in the morning. She went now. I got to pick her up. But have a phenomenal day. We get home, come back, make some lunch, and hop on a podcast at 3 o'clock. So for everyone here at Sports Zone Chicago, man, I'm your boy, the SuperBack, Shawn Sierra. You have a wonderful, wonderful day. Hit the like button, folks. Do me a favor. On your way out, hit the like button. I need you. We got to get the like button. I need interactions. Please hit the like button. It's imperative for us to do what we want to do and to move the way we want to move. I need subscriptions and I need likes to all the shows. So please do that. Please do that. So for everyone here at Sports Zone Chicago, guys, I'm your boy, the SuperBack, Shawn Sierra. You'll see me again at 3 o'clock Central. All right. So everyone, I am out. Where did that go?